Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Divorce Coach Diaries. I am happy to be back with you again after a few week break. I've been thinking about you a lot and thinking about what I want to talk to you about. And something that has been coming up a lot in my feeds in social media and with clients and just in my personal life is the idea that healthy relationships after unhealthy relationships are really uncomfortable still. We might think the healthy relationship is going to be so much easier after an unhealthy, toxic, or abusive one. And of course, in some ways that is true, but in other ways, it is so challenging. And I read a quote on Instagram, I think, that said something like, "You're not healing to be able to handle trauma, anxiety, sadness, pain, depression. You're used to those. You are healing to be able to allow joy and fulfillment and happiness back into your life." And I've thought about that a lot because that is so true. When you are in the thick of trauma and you are used to fight or flight, survival mode, all of those really painful, highly charged emotionally states, it feels normal. And when you're ready to move out of that, it feels like everything else will fall into place if you can just learn to manage those things, manage the anxiety, manage the depression, manage the triggers. And you will find out that that is just the starting point. Learning how to rewire your nervous system, retrain your brain, it's not so that we can handle more anxiety. It's so that we can allow in all the goodness and amazing things about being a human on earth. And so when you've done some of that healing and your body feels calmer, your brain and body feel less triggered, and you are able to have a baseline of more stability and less up and down due to outside circumstances, that's the point where we can begin to allow in happiness and joy and peace and fulfillment. All of those things that felt so impossible when you are so used to the trauma and the triggers and the survival and those things like peace and joy and fulfillment. It may have felt like when you had those in moments, you weren't able to allow them in because you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Or you think, well, this has to come at a cost. Things can't just be peaceful. And you felt that way for a good reason. That was your lived experience. But when we are healed and when we've done all of that work, we want to allow in the joy and the peace and the fulfillment. And that takes me to our real meat of the podcast today. And that is to talk about how, and that is to explore the idea that the hardest relationship that you will have is the healthy relationship after a toxic, unhealthy, or abusive one. And here's why. It's because that healthy relationship and that healthy partner brings up all the discomfort and challenges What was so unhealthy in your previous relationship? So, why is this? Or what is it about a healthy partnership that is so challenging and brings up all of our own emotional baggage and all of our stuff? So, let's talk about some habits or characteristics of healthy partners that might be really challenging for you to accept after a toxic partnership or an unhealthy partnership. So, why is it that a healthy partnership is challenging for you? Because everybody knows that a healthy relationship takes work, takes communication. It's not easy all the time, but I am speaking specifically to why it is that a healthy relationship after such an unhealthy one is especially challenging. So, I want to talk about some habits or healthy parts to a partnership that will be hard for you to accept or to trust. And that's really what it comes down to, is trusting. It is hard to trust after betrayal, after abuse, after trusting turned out to not be good judgment. So, the first thing I want to talk about is the idea. One of my mentors and coaches, Lindsay Pullman, she talks about this, and it's the idea that when you behave with integrity, that behavior is both said and shown. So, a said and shown might look like my partner says that he wants to plan date night, or that date night is important to him and he plans it. He said it's important and he wants to do it, and he actually follows through. He does it. Or my partner says that he wants an equal partnership, and he shows me that by collaborating or by compromising or by not just making decisions that affect both of us and saying, well, I'm in charge. Things like that. Says it and shows it. That is a part of integrity that is often or always missing in an unhealthy relationship. In your unhealthy relationship, this person might have said to you, it's both of our jobs to raise the kids, but what he or she showed was that it was actually your job. So, said and shown. It can be challenging to let someone in enough to allow them to say something and back it up with action that shows that they are behaving from a place of integrity. That can be scary, to wait for that person and to allow it to come into your relationship and to trust that not everybody is unhealthy. They aren't. There are good, healthy people who work really hard to be healthy. So, another part of a healthy partnership that might be triggering for you or hard to accept is that you don't spend your life confused or thinking that you must be crazy. Kind of goes along with said and shown, but when you are in a healthy relationship, their actions line up. They line up with how they talk, with how they behave. It's not confusing. You know that you matter to them. They don't just say, I love you, and then behave in a way that is not consistent with what feels like love. They don't ghost you. They don't isolate you. They want you to meet their family and their friends, and they want to be a part of your community of family and friends. It's not confusing. That is a really important part of a healthy relationship and a healthy person. And if you continue to feel confused, ask yourself why. And if you're confused, is this something that has to do with their behavior? And maybe this partnership is not as healthy as you originally thought. Another part that's really important in a healthy relationship that is hard to accept is that repair is possible and it happens. Hard conversations absolutely are going to happen. Two people, two sets of lived experiences, two different ways of navigating the world, even if they're aligned, you're never going to be 100% on the same page with another person all the time. It's just not possible. So, when you have difficult conversations, it doesn't drive a wedge or it doesn't completely stop communication or stonewall, or you're not begging for forgiveness for telling your requests, your opinions, asking them to meet a need of yours. When you take up space in your relationship, which you deserve to take up space, your needs matter, your opinions matter, your previous experience matters. So, when you have these hard conversations, not if, but when, it is possible to repair and to not be punished for speaking up. And it's uncomfortable to allow yourself the chance to speak up. And it can be really scary to trust another person enough to let them in, to tell them truly how you feel, and to give them a chance to show you that it's okay and that it is possible to become stronger and closer after having a hard conversation. So, really, what it comes down to is that, yeah, a healthy relationship after an unhealthy one can be really hard. And it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It doesn't mean you have the wrong partner. It doesn't mean you aren't ready for a healthy relationship. It's just the way of it. It's the way of human connection. It's the way our past shows up, even in healthy relationships. It's just a good reminder that people's behavior is about them and not about you. So allow yourself to be open to the idea that just because a relationship is hard, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It doesn't mean it's unhealthy. It doesn't mean you aren't healthy. It's just what happens when two humans come together. So, I want to challenge you that if you believe that you are in a healthy and good partnership, don't give up if it gets hard. Come to me. I would love to help you. Let me coach you and let's figure out together if this is somewhere that you want to continue to be, or if you feel like this is falling into the ground of unhealthy or toxic. So let's talk about it, because healthy partnerships and relationships are possible. They're hard, they can be triggering, and you're not doing anything wrong. So, thanks for joining me here for a few minutes today. Come and find me, Meg the Divorce Coach. I'd love to help you get some clarity on whatever it is in your relationships that are challenging or hard for you. Let's talk about it. Come and find me, megthedivorcecoach.com/free coaching. I'd love to help you. I can't wait to meet you. Have a great day, my friends. I'll talk to you next week.